Hi guys, this is Jessica from Jessica Wanders, and this is another How Much Food Can I Grow update. I'm going to finish up a little bit of planting that I started in the last video, and then I'm going to go over the first things that I'm harvesting out of the garden about a week and a half ago, and then I'll give you kind of like a garden update just to see how things are growing. Finally the bees are out. It's so great. Okay. So finished a little bit more planting, finally some weighing of things. How much food can I grow? We're finally getting into it. And then I'll finish up with a little bit of a garden tour. So if you're new here and you haven't seen any of my How Much Food Can I Grow video series, I'll leave a link here in this tab and you can watch the entire series from the beginning. Also, I'm interested in cooking up some meals with the things that I'm bringing out of the garden. I don't know quite what to call that. Cooking up my garden? I don't know. I need to come up with a catchy name for making some meals with garden produce stuff, I think, because I'd like to share those meals with you as well. It's so nice that the sun is out. We had such a long stretch of just horrendous rain, like really monsoon downpours, and I was really worried about my plants for some time. But anyways, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and you can subscribe to see more videos from me. Let's get into it. Let's see how much food I was able to grow. These are the ones I got from the store. I'm gonna bury them as deep as I can. Oh, the spinaches are looking so good. I am gonna pick all the bigger leaves for some nice spinach salads. It keeps a really long time in the fridge, so I'm not worried about picking too much. But when I'm done pruning them, they'll look sort of like this, and then make some more spinach. This is my radishes in this 10 by 11 foot bed, and they're pretty big. I've got quite a few coming out. So I think we'll be having spinach and radish salads. There's quite a few. Down in here. That's a weed. Quite a few down in here. Worth pulling up and eating. Yummy radishes. And I think I'm going to pull out some of these green onions. There on the ends. A few green onions. Okay. Even our lovely little grow bag is ready. It has quite a bit of lettuce or spinach here to come out, and probably, yep, a few radishes. The big ones, well, not as many radishes. Not as many big ones. There's a couple, there's one. Good. So even in the grow bag, we'll get some spinach. And a couple of radishes. So I have these mustard seeds that sprouted, or these mustard plants that sprouted in the walkways. I transplanted a bunch of them into a garden planter box, but I'm gonna steal the rest of them for a salad. Okay, this other scale is a fine scale for heavy or for larger amounts of things, but I think I'll use this digital scale for smaller amounts. No, 0, I said. Okay. From the 2x2 grow bag, we've got this spinach that I haven't quite washed yet. And then we've got a couple of radishes. That's not bad. Can make a nice little salad with a couple of radishes and some spinach. What have we got? We got 2.3 ounces. Not bad for a first haul. It was a pretty early haul out of the garden. So the 2x2 grow bag, 2.3 ounces so far. So I spent some time figuring out how I was going to keep track of this challenge. The challenge is trying to grow as much food as I can, hopefully 1,000 pounds of produce, but in some different things like this 2x2 foot grow bag, in my 10x11 raised bed, and then the whole garden, including these 2 areas, how much I grow for the entire growing season. So this is what I'm going to weigh it out. I'm going to measure that how much comes out of the grow bag. I'm going to measure how much comes out of the raised bed, and then combine it all at the rest of the garden plus these 2 for these amounts here. So that's the first chart. Oh, my very low techie with this wonderful pencil and this piece of paper. I think this will work just fine. You could keep a spreadsheet if you wanted to do something on the computer. The other thing is that I also keep track of individual things and how much of each thing I get out of the garden every year. So when I'm weighing things for the whole garden, I will be making a list of how many ounces of each vegetable or type of vegetable I get, and that's a whole nother chart. Some rhubarb, early rhubarb. My rhubarb doesn't turn very red. There's different kinds of rhubarb, but it tastes exactly the same, but it doesn't ever turn red. It never gets any redder than just the very tips or the ends, no matter what time of the season or when I pick it. Sometimes when I want to make rhubarb things, I'll add a little bit of red food coloring just because my rhubarb never gets red like that. 8.3 ounces of rhubarb. I only took green onions out of the raised garden bed, the 10x11 raised garden bed. Now we got 4 ounces. They look pretty nice. Raised garden bed also had some nice radishes, a couple that were getting munched on a little bit, but that's okay. So 10.6 minus the 4 ounces for the green onions, so that's 6.6 ounces of radishes. The spinach in the raised garden bed didn't do so well. It was kind of getting taken over by the turnips, so that was just poor planning on my part. But we do have a little bit. So for the whole raised garden bed, 10x11 raised garden bed, we have 11.3 ounces out of the bed. The green onions look really good, so I'm pretty stoked about that. some garlic chives, 7.7 ounces. Radishes, 6 ounces of radishes total for the whole garden. I got some nice mustard greens out of the garden. Some that were just growing in the path. Mr. Waters really likes them. He says they're super spicy, so I might maybe put some in some salads or something. The flowers, everything, you can eat everything. So they look pretty good. What do they call them? Volunteer when they grow, but you didn't actually plant them. So I'm pretty excited about them. Mustard greens. Mustard greens, 0.9 ounces of mustard greens. 0.9, so not even 1 whole ounce, but they're not very heavy. So, you know. And the total amount of spinach for the whole garden, 1 pound, 1.2 ounces. That's pretty good so far. I think there's going to be another giant crop of spinach as well. I think it's going to be a bumper spinach year because we've had really cool wet weather and it really likes it. 1 pound, 1.2 ounces for all the places in the grow bag, the raised bed, and the entire garden. This is all the spinach. And I keep these old containers hanging around so that I can fill them up with my own spinach. I think that I will save you all my calculating. I added up the entire amounts here. Here they are. You can check my math. Please check my math. That's no problem. I came up with 2 pounds, 12.1 ounces for the whole garden. 2 pounds, 12.1 ounces. It's hard to film and write. There we go. It's a very small start, but it is a start, and I can see that there's already going to be some more stuff coming out of the garden right away. Unfortunately, the fruit trees are really suffering, and sometimes that's where I get a lot of my weight from, so it's not going to be a great year for that. I'm thinking about planting more cabbages to make up the difference. I'm not sure. But that's what we got on our first harvest of the year. May 28th is when it happened. So yay, excellent. This is really the first chance I've had to get out in the garden and have a look at how things are doing and how they have survived the massive rainstorms that we've had. This is last year's kale, and I'm going to let it go to seed, and the bees are just loving it. The flowers. Finally seeing some bees is great. Sorry, buddy. But I did plant a new kale over here, and it survived. I planted some broccoli in here. They look like they're doing okay. This one doesn't look like it's faring very well, but it might recover. You never know. There's a few more down that way. The raspberries are all coming up. These are green onions, and then I also planted some leeks that look like they're doing just fine. This is my pepper row, and actually it doesn't look like anybody has really been suffering. Pretty soon, well, eventually these garlic will be out of here, and then these will get a little more sun. But yeah, ooh, this one looks a little wounded. But That's not bad. They all look like they're still alive. So awesome. Yay. I did plant some more cabbages. I was gonna put Brussels sprouts in here, but we didn't get to the plant store, and I didn't really want to spend more money on Brussels sprouts. They're a big plant. They take up a huge amount of space, and I can just buy some Brussels sprouts. And I didn't eat as many as I thought I would. I actually still have Brussels sprouts in the freezer from last year. So these are beets coming up in this whole section here. So that looks great. My onions kind of got all flopped over. I keep trying to top them. Like I'll come along and then I'll just trim them like here and get rid of this floppy bit. I don't know, we'll see. They kind of got beat down by the rain quite a bit. And I didn't have many onion seeds that sprouted this year for some reason. So I don't have very many of this year's onions. I'm gonna have to end up buying some. That's just the truth of it. I did plant beans over here, but it doesn't look like they've come up. They really need hot weather, and I wish honestly that I hadn't quite planted them during this crazy, it's just been cold and rainy for almost 2 weeks. So anyway, the cabbages love it though. Look, these cabbages, they were pretty rough looking. This one is still kind of rough looking, but it's recovering. That one looks good. A couple more down there. It's good to see some more bees out. Not everything is planted in the garden, but I did get most of the tomatoes in, the peppers in. I'll show you what you'll see what I picked from spinach, but it's all ready to be picked again. Clearly, huge crop of spinach. And even some of the carrots are up. Few, also some weeds, but some of the carrots are up, so that's good. I'll just be getting in my dry beans in another part of the garden this next couple of days because it was just too wet, and they tell you not to put them in when it's soggy and wet. But these other just green beans and yellow beans are coming up just today. They're breaking through and they're coming up. So I'm super excited that they made it and didn't rot in the ground with all this rain. I need to weed this now. The weeds love the rain too. But everybody looks like there's so many coming up. I'm excited. There's finally something to look at other than dirt. Planting seeds is always so boring. I think I'm definitely gonna get some mustard seeds off of these mustard plants, volunteers, this year. And I still have to get my sweet potatoes in the ground. I don't know how they're gonna do. They're just there so that they get water from the sprinklers, but then it just rained like crazy. This is our grow bag. It's doing excellent. I have to harvest spinach again. It looks great. And the strawberries have flowered, and I haven't seen any actual red strawberries yet, but they're coming along. And I've seen the bees in here. So pretty soon, or eventually, we're gonna have some strawberries as well. That's great. I was worried because there wasn't very many bees around. Everything looks like it just loves the rain. These are turnips. You can sort of see the top of it. It's purpleness in there. Purple top turnips. They'll be coming out pretty soon. Those are the peas. They need a little bit of trellis work because they're gonna keep getting bigger. I need something to grab onto. And then I planted the tomatoes, and it looks like none of them have died, and some of them are doing pretty well. But it's still a very cold, slow start to the season. This is the 10 by 11 bed. The potatoes are doing really well. There's some lettuce in there. I should pick some lettuce. Those would be bok choys. little bok choy, chives, this tomato, and then the spinach didn't do well in this planter box. I mean, they're bigger now, but they got overrun with these turnips. So when I pull the turnips, I'll start on this side, so give the spinach a little bit more room. And these are some more. I replanted too, some more radishes. There's some big ones. Oh, look at that one. That is a big radish. That is a very big radish. It's a pretty good. I'll have to get out here and pick some more radishes pretty quick. And green onions are still going strong. These are potatoes. Okay, I was planning on doing a pretty quick update, but it's getting longer and longer. I will harvest some dill pretty soon. And we have to get the squashes in. We did plant the corn. These corn don't look like they're up at all, but these peaches and cream, I did see some. Oh, here they are. They're hard to see for the weeds, but they are starting to come up. Corn, that's awesome. I think these ones are just a little slower anyways. Anyway, I just wanted to give you kind of a garden tour. Everything is looking very pretty. The pool is getting opened. Everything is looking kind of green, a little bit green. Yeah, that's all. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe by clicking my face to see more videos from me. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the How Much Food Can I Grow series, and I'm excited to be starting to harvest. Finally, we get to get on seeing how much food I can grow. We're a bit behind this year, but it's still going to be fun. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys. Oh, can't wait for peas.